Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's Bug Hunt trivia session. We're really delighted that you're so enthusiastic to be here joining with us tonight for our online trivia session. My name's Alison, and I work for an amazing environmental charity called Invertebrates Australia. And I'm currently in the role of project co lead for Bug Hunt. And so tonight I'm calling in from beautiful Dharawal country on the south coast of New South Wales. And I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we're meeting and pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nations people here tonight. Please do pop in the chat if you like which area and country that you're joining from, as we'd really love to see where people are tuning in from. So, just to let you know as well, we are recording tonight's session. So, if you'd like to watch it again later and do the trivia with some other people or share the link with other people you think might be interested, you're more than welcome to do that, and it will be shared after the recording from tonight. So now I'd like to hand over to the lovely Jess to introduce herself and tell us a bit more about the Bug Hunt project.
Sweet. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jess. I'm from the Invasive Species Council. And Alice and I are the co-coordinators of the Bug Hunt. The Bug Hunt is a national citizen science project run by Invasive Species Council, Invertebrates Australia, and supported by Australian Geographic. And what it's about is about Australians getting out into their backyards, getting out into nature, snapping photos of bugs, either systematically or just like as you go. If you just see them, take those photos, upload them into an app called iNaturalist. It's completely free, and that app will identify what you've got using an amazing photo recognition software. And then bug experts will come along and they'll verify those records. And then the most important part of that is that those records go off to the Atlas of Living Australia, which is a database managed by the CSIRO. And then scientists get to use that data to learn about not only the 200,000 species of native bugs that we don't know about yet in Western science, but also potentially detect invasive species, which could have a huge threat to not only our health, our economy, and biodiversity. You could be the person to detect a new incursion of invasive species or learn about ones and how they're moving already. And that's the bug hunt, and that's why you might already know that. But here we are tonight to learn a little bit more about bugs and to have fun along the way. So I'll hand back to Alison to tell you guys how the trivia will work.
Fabulous. Thank you, Jess. So, the format for tonight's trivia will be that there are going to be 4 rounds, and each round is going to have 4 questions in it. So, round 1 is focusing on invertebrate superstars. Round 2 is about lost species. Round 3 is about Meet the Invaders. And round 4 is about citizen science and iNaturalist. And then there's a bit of a bonus guessing game question at the end. And the prize for the winner will be the glory of knowing that your invertebrates knowledge is amazing. And we are lucky, though, to be able to offer 2 lucky prizes of $50 Invertebrate Australia gift cards if you complete the survey that will go out after the end of this session. So if you do that survey, you can go into that lucky draw. And Invertebrates Australia has some really wonderful merchandise in their online store, like this beautiful invertebrate themed shirt I've got on tonight. Some gorgeous stickers like this one I've got on my phone. I've also got some beautiful tea towels and lots of other nice invertebrate themed products there. So now I'm going to hand over to Jess to kick us off with round 1.
Sweet. Okay, this round is about invertebrate superstars. There's one right there. That is an incredible golden Christmas beetle. So these questions are focusing on some of Australia's terrestrial invertebrates. So insects, snails, worms, and spiders. Mostly they live on the land. And these ones we're going to tell you about have been in the media spotlight for the past couple of years. All right, first question. Everyone ready? Which insect won last year the 2025 ABC Australian Insect of the Year? Was it A, the green grocer cicada? That's the one on the top right. The amazing cicada that calls up to 120 decibels, which is about the same as a motorcycle. Was it B, the duck-billed Christmas beetle? That's the one on the bottom there, the iconic species. They come up around Christmas? Or was it C, the mountain katydid? That's that weird looking guy. Actually, that's a girl doing a threat species on the right. Or was it D, the graphic flutterer dragonfly? Down on the bottom right there. Right there.
And we've
Answers.
just had a good question, Jess, which I should have
Mhm.
covered in how we're doing the trivia, which is how do you answer?
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're keeping this pretty simple, just in terms of you can answer by just making notes yourself on your phone of the answer, whether it's like A, B, C, or D, that you think aligns with each of the four questions for the different rounds. Or if you've got a pen and paper there, you can just jot them down as well. So we're keeping this pretty low tech to make it easy and accessible for everyone to join in.
Yeah. And yeah, just learning about lots of cool buggies that we have here in Australia. All right, so that was question one. I'll give you 3 more seconds. Three, two, one. Okay. Question two. All right. So, which Australian native moth, which is an endangered species, can be found in the Australian Alps from the middle of spring to the middle of autumn? These moths undertake incredible migrations, sometimes up to 1,000 kilometers from all across southern Australia, even up from Queensland. Was it A, the granny cloak moth, B, the bogong moth, C, the Australian atlas moth, or D, the southern moon moth? I'll let you think for a second. Oops, oh my gosh. Oh no. And there is a map about where they've been observed to move. Incredible little beasties. Alrighty. Are you ready? Question three. The giant Gippsland earthworm, Megascolides australis, is considered the largest earthworm in Australia. That is not a photo of one. No way. That is another kind of very big worm. If you're a fan of the books or the movie June, that's a worm. Uh, so is the giant Gippsland earthworm, is it 10 to 30 centimeters, A, or is it B, 1 to 3 meters, or is it C, 3 to 5 meters? Or if you like June, maybe it's not that one.
I have noticed some people are adding the answers into the chat, which you are more than
Yeah,
welcome to do
nice.
as well if you like. So, yeah, please do share if you like. And then at the end of the round as well, if you feel like sharing the score that you've got out of four, you're welcome to do that as well.
Super. All right, last question of round one. The famous conservation family, the Irwins, who manage Australia Zoo in Queensland, have multiple invertebrate species named after them. Which of the following species is not one of the species named after an Irwin? There's Robert on the side there with some beetles. Actually, don't think that those are named after him. But all right, which of the following three are not named after the Irwin family? Is it Robert Irwin's banded snail? Is it a type of running spider called Lycartius terrierwinae? Or is it Bindi's khaki cockroach, Macropanethia bindii? That was a lot of Latin.
You're very good at your Latin, Jess. I'm impressed.
My biology degree is paying off. All right. All right. So those are our four questions for round one, our invertebrate superstars. And we're going to go to the answers now. So the answer to question one, which was which insect won the 2025 ABC Insect of the Year, the answer is D, the graphic flutterer butterfly. There it is on the left there. Dragonflies are incredible beasties. They've existed as an order for 300 million years. So they're basically dinosaurs. And they boast a hunting success rate of nearly 95%. So they're almost perfect little animals. All right, and question two was which Australian native moth, which is an endangered species, migrates to Australian Alps and will be there from spring till mid-autumn? The answer, these famous guys, is bogong moths. There's one there. This is a special little beastie right here. This one in this picture. Alison knows it personally.
Yes, I was up volunteering recently for the tagging project that Invertebrates Australia was leading up in Charlotte's Pass to tag bogong moths and learn more about their migration. So we're really keen to have records coming through as well of these bogon moths that have tags on them. So do really encourage anyone you know to keep their eyes out, particularly at nighttime when moths might be attracted to lights or around your porch lights. And we'd love to have records of them coming through either iNaturalist or Bogon Watch. I've also got my beautiful Bogon themed shirt on today from the Invertebrates Australia shop, just because we're keen to get people talking about Bogon moths and really looking out for those tagged moths at the moment.
There you go, the iconic bogong moth. All right, answer to question 3. How long is a giant Gippsland earthworm? There's one there. They're known to be about 1 maybe to 3 meters, but they are really hard to study because they live underground in a very small area. But they're estimated to be 1 to 3 meters, which is amazing, and I would love to meet one. Fun fact, also estimated to live 5 to 20 years. Also hard to know, but
Wow.
yeah, a very long-lived wormy. All right. All right. And the answer to which of these animals was not named after an Irwin was the khaki cockroach. There is a snail named after Robert. There's multiple snails named after Irwins. I think there's 3 different snail species. And there's a spider that is indeed named after Terry. And there's a turtle, a snake, and what I found out doing my research for this was there's also a koala blood parasite named after Irwins, which is nice, I guess.
All sorts of things.
Yeah. All right, so there's your fun facts for round 1. If you guys want to put your scores or any comments or whatever you like in the chat, go for it now.
Yeah, I can see actually that May and Isabel got 4 out of 4 for that
Hey,
round.
you nailed
So
it.
well done,
Guys.
you.
Got some bug experts.
We
All right,
do.
so we'll move to round 2 now. I'll pass over to Alison.
Lovely. So, 2 out of 4 is fantastic as well. Like, I think part of this is just kind of learning more about invertebrates as well. And I know I am just like constantly learning more.
Tell me
And
more.
it's like endless, isn't it? How much there is to learn. And it's always really fun learning new things. So, hopefully, you're enjoying
Definitely.
learning some new things too.
Great.
So round 2 is about lost species. So lost species are those species which haven't had any recordings for 10 years or more. So some of these species are threatened with extinction, and often that is because of human-induced changes like land clearing or invasive species or climate change. And interestingly, iNaturalist has had quite a few lost species which have been recorded through iNaturalist and shared with the scientific community. So I think that's really amazing that through the Citizen Science Project iNaturalist, some of these lost species are being rediscovered. So let's jump into the first question for round 2. So do you want to jump into the
Oh, sorry.
next slide, Jess? Yeah, beautiful. So, the Eltham copper butterfly was thought to be extinct from the 1950s until it was rediscovered in 1986. And this gorgeous butterfly has a close symbiotic, so a beneficial association with a group of ants from the genus Natoncus and the shrub Sweet Bassaria. So the question is, what state is this threatened butterfly found in? And there's a bit of a clue in the name of the butterfly. So Eltham is a suburb in this state, and the butterfly was named after that suburb where it was rediscovered in the 80s. So let's jump into the next question if you've had a moment to think about that. So, what is the common name of a primitive ant with the scientific name Nothomermacia macrops? Jess is much better with her Latin than I am. She was like giving me tutorials on how to say that, which was fantastic. Hopefully, I didn't do too bad of a job of it. This ant was first scientifically recorded in 1931 in Western Australia, but it was not seen again until 1977 in South Australia. So, was it A, the dinosaur ant, B, a prehistoric ant, C, a T-Rex ant, or D, a living fossil ant? So we're looking for the common name for this special ant. So let's jump into the next one. So, the introduction of which invasive species made the Lord Howe Island stick insect extinct on Lord Howe Island for a number of decades? Was it A, cats and dogs, B, rats and mice, or C, honeybees and European wasps? So, which of these animals caused the Lord Howe Island stick insect to disappear for many decades on Lord Howe Island?
Look at her. She's such a cutie. I'd love to
I
meet
know,
one.
and so big. Like that, yeah, the size of them is just amazing. I've
I
never
think
seen one. I'd love to go to Lord Howe Island and see one
no.
time.
Is it true they're colloquially known as lobsters? Something? Some,
Yes, I think
yeah.
they do say sometimes they're known as land lobsters.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah.
that.
Tree lobsters. Oh, Andrew's saying tree lobsters. Yes,
Oh,
great.
cool.
Thank you, Andrew.
I'm putting it on my list. I want to see that and the kingdom.
That would be amazing. All right. So, question number 4. In 2021, ecologist and native bee expert James Dorey rediscovered a species of cloaked bee called Pharaohylaeus lactiferus,
Nailed it.
which had not been seen for over 100 years. He found the bees on flowers of which color? So there's a clue here, and the trees that he found them on are the Illawarra flame tree and the firewheel tree. And these colours are often thought to be not as attractive to native bees. So the options were the flowers A, blue, B, red, C, orange, or D, white.
And there they are.
Yes, that's right. Jess has made the photos grey to keep it a bit of a secret. So,
Great. All right, you ready?
yes, let's jump into the next answers. So, yes, so that's the end of round 2, our 4 questions. So, the answer to question D about the Eltham copper butterfly was it was found in the state of Victoria. So, the suburb of Eltham is kind of yeah, like on the outskirts of Melbourne. And there are a few other locations in Victoria where it's been found as well. So lucky Victorians who have that beautiful butterfly in there. So just had a question like, where do you put your answers? You're welcome to put your answers here in the chat if you like, or just jot them down yourself on a piece of paper or on your phone. You can also share your score in the chat if you like, as in like how many questions you got right out of 4. Glad to hear some people commenting that they are learning a lot this round. So
Yay, great.
well done, well done. So glad you're all here and enjoying it. It's really lovely to have your feedback coming through the chat. So, okay, so answer 1 was D, Victoria. Question 2 is A, the dinosaur ant. The iNaturalist community was also very excited back in November last year because a photograph of a dinosaur ant was added to iNaturalist for the first time by ant enthusiast Angus Smith. So thank you, Angus, for adding that beautiful photo, which we did use in the slideshow earlier to show you that photo of the dinosaur ant. And it's the only record up in iNaturalist of that dinosaur ant. So well done, Angus. The answer to question 3 was B, rats and mice. So there's the story behind that is really interesting as well. So the Lord Howe Island stick insect went extinct last century. And then in 2001, they found some live stick insects on a rock stack called Bull's Pyramid, which is not too far from Lord Howe Island. And then they also underwent this quite impressive process of researching and planning to eradicate rodents and mice from Lord Howe Island. And that project finished in 2019. And there are no longer introduced rats or introduced mice on Lord Howe Island, and lots of invertebrates, including the Lord Howe Island stick insect, are now recovering, which is super encouraging to see. So the answer to question 4 is B. So the color is red. So it was red flowers that were where James found the native bee that hadn't been seen for such a long time. And he did speculate that one of the reasons that it hadn't been seen for so long is that because it was thought until fairly recently that native bees aren't so attracted to red flowers, but they certainly can be. So it does look a little bit orange too, Andrew. I can see your point there, especially this firewheel photo. So maybe we should accommodate orange there too. So
You can
maybe
have
we'll
it.
say, yeah, you can have red or orange for that answer.
Technically, there's
Um,
yellow in that too, but
I suppose the
no
dominant color. We're after the dominant color.
Great.
Wonderful. So that's round 4. Yeah, and thank you to those who have been sharing answers as well in the chat. Really enjoying this interactivity. So I'll hand over to you, Jess,
Great.
for round 3.
Awesome. All right, round 3. My specialists meet the invaders. This round is about invasive species. Invasive species are considered one of the greatest threats to Australia's unique, incredible biodiversity. They cause more extinctions and habitat loss in this country. 4 out of 6 species extinctions in the past 20 years have been due to invasive species. And since European settlement in this country, several thousands of non-native plants, animals, and diseases have established themselves. So I'm going to learn a little bit more about them. This particular buggy is I'm not meant to have favorites, but I do. Actually hasn't established in Australia, and we really hope it doesn't. This is a giant African snail. They can grow to the size of a small rabbit, and they would feed on every single kind of plant that you can imagine. So it would be hugely devastating if they were to arrive. The good news is, if you spotted that on a naturalist, it'd be pretty easy to identify. So please take photos of snails. Okay, so your first question for round 2 is, which of these ants that I've listed below is not a real common name of an invasive ant species in Australia? Is it the orange stinger ant, the red imported fire ant, the yellow crazy ant, or the big-headed ant? And none of them look like that guy. That's Flick. Is his name Flick? I don't remember.
Oh, I'm not
From Bug's
sure.
Life? That maybe.
If anyone knows, put the answer in the chat for us.
Bonus. Alrighty. Okay, next question. Question 2.
Oh, actually, Jade was saying it is Flick.
Is
The
Flick?
name is
I
Flick.
remembered.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
memory
Well
of my
done. Well
childhood.
done. Thank you.
9 years old. Thank you. All right, this one we've gone slightly to sort of the side. How much do invasive species are they estimated to cost Australia each year? So not just invertebrates in this case, we're including all kinds of invasive species. That includes animals with backbones too. How much do you think that they cost Australia each year? Is it 300 billion, 50 billion, 25 billion, or 16 billion dollars? Either way, it's a lot of dollars.
They are big numbers. Very big
Yes,
numbers.
we would like to remove them. Okay, moving on to question 3. All right, which bee native to Europe has been introduced to Tasmania and considered a biosecurity threat to mainland Australia because it competes with native birds and bees for nectar and pollen? It also benefits weeds by pollinating their flowers over native species. So this is a species that has established in Tasmania, but no other jurisdiction of Australia. Is it the giant honeybee, Apis dorsata? Is it the large earth bumblebee, Bombus terrestris? Or is it the red dwarf honeybee, Apis florea? So none of those are invasive to Australia. Which one is in Tasmania? And there is a photo of a bird because this particular bee is known to impact this beautiful little beastie. There's a 40 spotted pardalote which lives in Tasmania and is highly threatened by various things, one of them being competing for nesting hollows with this particular bee. And he's just really cute, and I had to look at him. Apparently, he's got 40 spots. Okay, last question on this round. This is a long word. The polyphagus shot hole borer, we just call it PSHB, is a very tiny beetle, very tiny, 2 millimeters, invasive beetle that damages trees by tunneling into them and then cultivating a deadly fungus called fusarium, which disrupts the water and nutrient transport inside those trees. There's one of those little dudes down there, and if you look to the right, that's the kind of damage they do. So polyphagus means many trees. It can target all different kinds of trees, which is why we're worried about them spreading. They are currently established, and they were detected to have arrived in 2021 in which Australian city? Was it Newcastle, Perth, Brisbane, or Hobart? Have a think. We need that like elevator music.
Yes, we do.
What's the show? Can't remember what it's called.
Or maybe some insect music. We could have had like, how you were
Oh,
saying you
okay.
could hear crickets outside right now.
Oh,
We
you
could have
never
had some
know.
nice like kind of cricket
Play it.
and like Katie did background noise.
That
I'll have to
sounds
do
fun.
that next time.
Great. Okay, this is a fun slide. All right, so the answers to round three. Meet the invaders. The fake common name, so the one that was not the real common name of invasive ant species, was the orange stinger ant. And there's Flick, I made him orange, which means that we do have invasive ants called red importer fire ants, sometimes just called fire ants. We do have yellow crazy ants, they're established, and we also have big headed ants, all of which cause damage to our biodiversity, health, economy, and agriculture. An interesting fact about fire ants and yellow crazy ants is they can form massive super colonies. And the reason that they're so successful at doing that is because often they have colonies that have multiple queens, which is quite unusual for ants, and they don't mind sharing areas. And that allows for rapid reproduction, expanding across landscapes. And these super colonies are very aggressive. They dominate ecosystems, they displace species, native species, they damage crops, and they interfere with human agriculture. And the way that they move, they're very resilient. The size of them and their cooperation, which is pretty incredible, makes them very difficult to control and eradicate. But we have incredible machine systems that are working, thanks to the government, that are working to eradicate these ants. We just have to keep that pressure on. All right. Oh, oops. My bad. Sorry. Answer two, question two. The answer there was C, $25 billion, which is a lot of dollars. Feral animals and invasive species are not just environmental issue. They threaten also our agriculture, regional livelihoods, biodiversity, and our health. So it's causing a huge, huge economic hole in our budget as well. Okay, and the answer to question three was B. The answer to that was the large earth bumblebee. So if you look to the image on the right, that's the guy on the left, the introduced bumblebee. They are very cute. But interesting to know that we have at least two native bee species that look quite similar to them if you get confused, if you're on a naturalist. This lovely one in the middle is a carpenter bee. They're actually a little bit bigger. Sometimes those ones nest inside grass tree spikes, which is beautiful, little houses. And one of my favorite bees, the teddy bear bee. They look like teddy bears and they do cute little buzz pollination where they just vibrate really hard inside a flower.
We've had so many teddy bear bees here on Dharawal country on the New
Oh,
South
I
Wales South
wish.
Coast recently. Like it's been amazing. There's just been like an explosion of them over late summer and autumn here. Like, yeah, I love seeing them in my garden, and lots of people I've been talking to have been seeing them around too. So
Jealous. I don't have them in animal country in
I
Canberra.
know. I'm sorry you don't get them in Canberra. I think it's a little bit too cold for them out there.
So,
But if you're lucky to be on the east coast of Australia, they do have quite a big range along the east coast of Australia.
yeah, Alison was telling me last week if you have like a cottage garden, they love flowers that you might find in the lavender and the sage. Is that correct?
Yeah, they do. So often at botanic gardens, you can spot them at places like that. But then also, of course, like our native flowers are really fantastic for attracting local native
Ooh,
bees as well.
cuties. All right, and the answer to question four was B. They're in Perth. So, like I mentioned, these polyphagus short-hole borers could affect up to 400 different species of plants that live in Australia. Um, that ranges from maples to avocados. And currently, the only way that we know to manage them is by having to quarantine those specimens, to prune them, and to remove the trees. So, what you can do if you happen to live in Perth, what time would it be there? 3:30. Look out for symptoms of damage by those polyphagus short-hole borers. There's a few different things you can look for down the left here. There's tiny little holes in trees. If you happen to see the inside of a branch, they will have these funny little lines, and sometimes frass coming out of those holes, which is like little sawdust where they've been digging. Just keep an eye out for them. All right, so that was round three. Meet the invaders. Pop your scores or any comments in the chat and we'll have a look. Hope you're enjoying. All right, and then we'll head to our last round, which is round four on citizen science and iNaturalist.
Yeah, so we thought we'd include this section because iNaturalist is the tool that we're using to run our bug hunt project. So I'd love to hear in the chat as well, like if anyone is using iNaturalist, if you have a favorite bug that you like putting into iNaturalist, that would be lovely to hear about too. So in iNaturalist, we have set up a project called Bug Hunt Australia, and you can also search for that project. And maybe we can put a link to it in the chat as well. I'm just going to look it up. So you just search for like Bug Hunt Australia under projects, and I'll just find that link because we do love people joining the project. And by joining the project, you can get updates on what's going on. So we would put updates in like the blog for the project about the trivia night tonight, about Bugs in My Backyard Week, which is coming up later in the year. So it's a really lovely way to keep in the loop with what's happening with the Bug Hunt project. Oh my gosh, we've got Maria saying that she's done 1,300 observations
Wow,
in iNaturalist. That
amazing.
is very impressive.
So valuable.
Legend. Yeah. So, oh, we've got Andrew saying that he has one beetle where it was the first photo of a live specimen. Your proudest
Oh,
achievement.
wow.
Oh my goodness, Andrew, that is like so amazing. So, you've taken the very first photograph of a beetle and put it into iNaturalist. That is amazing. Um, and you just never know sometimes, like whether you might be contributing the very first photo of something that has gone up into iNaturalist, because there are so many invertebrates that haven't been scientifically recorded and described, or sometimes even ones that are held in museum collections and like there's dead specimens. Nobody's seen like a live specimen. So, yeah, like that's like Andrew was saying, like taking that first live photograph of them, like that is really amazing. And we can learn so much about the behavior sometimes of invertebrates through the photos. So you can learn about, what is it interacting with? Like what plants is it interacting with? What time of year is it active? All of that information can be so useful. And that does make me think like on iNaturalist, I also love how like for species, it gives you like a graph of when they're active. So, how we were talking before about teddy bear bees and like they've been so active at the moment. You can really see that like on the graph because those teddy bear bees, once the weather gets a bit colder, you won't see the adults around anymore because they die off and the young are developing in the ground. So it's really interesting in iNaturalist that you can explore all of these different things about different invertebrates. And I particularly like using the desktop app to explore, which I think is just worth mentioning sometimes because sometimes people think that iNaturalist is only an app on your phone, but it is a platform that you can use on your desktop as well. And it often is a lot easier to navigate through some of the really interesting features on your desktop rather than on your phone, even though it's like super easy to upload observations from your phone, which is the main reason that we chose to use iNaturalist for our project. Um, Oh, yep. And Jess has just shared some videos on how to use iNaturalist as well. So wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, oh, yeah. And yes, so the user Maria in the chat was saying, by the way, I'm Rocky. So, yes, thank you, Rocky, for your comments. Really appreciate you engaging with our chat here. And you're saying you found a rare version of a harlequin red bug, which was the second recording on iNaturalist. So, thank you, Rocky, for sharing that link as well. Yeah, do click on that link if you're interested in finding out more about that rare harlequin red bug that Rocky has found. And we had someone sharing as well that their favorite insect is a washerwoman's Christmas beetle.
What a
Um,
cutie.
I think a lot of people have a lot of love for Christmas beetles. And I also just do a side note as well that another one of Invertebrate Australia's citizen science project is the Christmas beetle count. And that happens every year over the warmer parts of the year. And we really love getting as many records as we can of Christmas beetles uploaded into iNaturalist. And they feed both into the Christmas beetle count and our bug hunt project, which is super wonderful. So, okay, let's jump into the first question here, Jess, for
Yeah.
the fourth and final round. So, which invertebrate species has the most records in iNaturalist in Australia? So, is it the common brown butterfly, A, or is it B, the western honeybee, which is also sometimes called the European honeybee? So, that's Apis mellifera. Is it C, the lesser grass blue butterfly, or is it D, the blue skimmer dragonfly? So this is the insect that has been photographed the most times and uploaded the most times into the iNaturalist platform in Australia. All right, so let's jump into the next one. So in March this year, the iNaturalist community actually celebrated a milestone number of years since the first observation was uploaded into the platform. So, how many years ago was the first iNaturalist observation made in the USA? Do you think it was made A, 10 years ago, B, 15 years ago, C, 18 years ago, or D, 21 years ago? So you can jot down your answer there. And if you are active on iNaturalist, you might have seen some things popping up about this special celebration, which happened just last month on iNaturalist. So, I'll also just share we've had some more people commenting in the chat. My mum, who's now 87, loves cicadas, and she used to send specimens to um, Max Molds, who must have been a taxonomist or an insect specialist. And she's had an undescribed species, and he named it for her. Oh, that's really special. She must have had
Right specimen.
really, yeah, really been dedicated towards finding out more about those species of cicadas and undescribed cicada species. So that's
Amazing. I'll have to look
really
out for it.
wonderful. And I'm really glad to hear that you're keen to use iNaturalist as well. So I hope you do find it easy to use. Like we find it really easy to use. It can also be a bit addictive and a really lovely way to just enjoy being outside and learning more about what you're seeing. So yeah, please do jump in and it's really easy to create a free profile for iNaturalist. You can either download the app to your phone or jump on the website and creating an account is free and really easy to do. So, okay. So let's jump into the third question. So, what month was Bug Hunt's first Bugs in My Backyard week held last year through iNaturalist? So, this was an event that Bug Hunt, so Jess and I ran this for the first time last year. And we were really just encouraging people to submit as many invertebrate records as they could during a week in a particular month. So, have a guess of which month you think that was. And then we might jump into, so yeah, so we had, well, A, September, B, October, C, November, or D, December. So which one of those 4 months do you think it was?
And we'll be doing it again this year.
We will, and we'll be sharing the dates later in the trivia session.
Talking
So let's jump into the next slide. So how many terrestrial invertebrates were recorded as part of the first Bugs in My Backyard week? From, we just put like, that gives you a hint to the previous answer.
Oh,
um,
now
Rounded to the nearest thousand, like how many records were submitted. And we were so delighted with how many records were submitted of invertebrates
incredible
during.
effort and incredible photos came through as well.
Yes. And so Fiona's just saying, spoiler. Yes, we did totally spoil that. At least we kind of moved to the
Uh,
next slide before we did. So
we're just helping.
that's right. We're just giving you some clues, some really big clues.
We just want you to join in this year.
Exactly, exactly. So it's about making everyone feel good, getting the right answer. So how many invertebrate records do you think we got during the week? Was it A, 33,000, B, 43,000, C, 53,000, or D, 63,000? So it was
Ooh,
a lot. So just have a guess of which number you think it was. And then we will go to the answer slide in just a moment. We did have a few prizes for Bugs in My Backyard Week. So we had prizes for the most remote recording, which was done from quite a remote place in Western Australia. We had prizes for the most species observed. And there was an incredible number of species that was observed by one participant. And we had a prizes for the most beautiful photograph. And the winner of that was the photographer of this image of a blue-banded bee resting next to a neon cuckoo bee. So really beautiful image, this one, and a really interesting one when you think about it, because the neon cuckoo bee, which is the really bright blue and black bee, the females actually predate the nests of the blue-banded bees. And so they sneak in there and they lay their eggs in a similar way to how cuckoo birds do. And if those eggs hatch first, then they eat the resources that would have been left for the blue-banded bee. So they're a little bit cheeky, the neon cuckoo bees, but I do adore them because they are just so gorgeous. And it's really special to see them. And this photo is quite incredible to get both of those native bee species in
yeah.
one photograph together.
We had so many incredible photos. One of my favorites was of a orb weaver spider, and it was like right up next to his little face, and it looked like he had little periscope eyes. And
I know.
you can check out all the top 20 shortlisted photos for that prize that was judged by Australian Geographic by heading to our Instagram or our Facebook. There's all kinds of spiders and flies and mantises there that amazing photos were taken by our bug hunters.
They were incredible photos. All right, so let's jump into the answers for this round. So, the answer to number one, the most commonly observed invertebrate in iNaturalist in Australia is the Western honeybee, or also known as the European honeybee, Apis mellifera. And there are over 26,000 records of this bee in iNaturalist. So there's also a lot of birds and mammals and reptiles in the kind of top records for iNaturalist for species. So it would be lovely to see some more invertebrates in there too. And hopefully with all of the extra invertebrate records that we're getting through the Bug Hunt Project and Bugs in My Backyard Week, we might start to see some invertebrate species creeping up into the top there too. So the answer to number two was C, the 18th birthday party. So iNaturalist recently celebrated 18 years of being a fantastic citizen science project. The answer to number 3 is C, November, which we totally spoiled.
Nice.
Didn't even realize. So that was held in November
Wow.
from the 16th. And yeah, so last year it was like the 17th until the 23rd. So this year, please do save the dates for the 16th until the 22nd of November. And we're going to be really encouraging everyone to get behind Bugs in My Backyard Week and try and just submit as many records of invertebrates as they can in that time to help us create a bit of a springtime snapshot of bugs across Australia. And the answer to number 4 was B, 43,000 records. There are more than 43,000 records, which are showing in the Bugs in My Backyard Week from November last year. And I might also just put a link to that in the chat because we do have the results available in iNaturalist for people to have a look at. And where was I going with that? The 43,000 records, what's really exciting about that is that it's a big number, but it's also more than 50% more records compared to the week before and compared to the same week a year before. So getting more than 50% records than what we would normally expect the year before or the week before in the same week was like super encouraging to us and just really showed that people were putting in a lot of extra effort to get records coming in during that time. So thank you very much. If anyone out there joined in Bugs in My Backyard Week last year, we super appreciated it. And we really do hope that you can join us this year from the 16th to the 22nd of November. Is it a coincidence? Oh, there's a question. Is it a coincidence or planned that a lot of the trivia questions were B? Also like
Wow.
B.
Subliminal.
It
It
must
was
have
not
been
a
subliminal because it wasn't planned.
wow. We just really like
But yeah, there are quite a few which are B after a much loved invertebrate, the bee. So
we'll have to take it up next
yes,
time.
the bees must have just been channeling us. So yes, if you'd like to share your score in the chat from that round or your score overall, if you want to add it up. Fiona has said that she got 13 out of 16. That is like super impressive, Fiona. I'm very impressed by that. Really glad that you enjoyed the trivia as well. So thank you all for joining in. Let's just jump on to the next slide. We do have a bonus question too. So yeah, so you can add 1 to your score. This is kind of like a guessing game, a guessing number. So we were asking you to guess, and you can put your answer into the chat, and we'll give a bonus point to whoever gets the closest number to what the number actually is. And so the question is, how many people are signed up to receive the Bug Hunt e-newsletters? So nobody's going to know the answer to this. It's just going to have to be like a random number guess. Also, we've had 1,111 come in as a guess. Good guess. 542, also a great guess. So if you would like to guess for your chance to get a bonus point, please do add some numbers in there. Oh, I love the variety. We've got 6,000, we've got 2,500. So our Bug Hunt newsletters go out every month or so, and you can sign up to subscribe them by just going to the bughunt.org.au website and just popping in your email address, and then you can get those updates. And we share in those EDMs or newsletters things like free resources that we've got. So we've developed some free resources with cool.org for teachers to download and use in the classroom. We also have developed like a scavenger hunt sheet that you can print out to do with kids. And there's lots of free resources on our website that we kind of highlight in that newsletter as well as any events that we have coming up. So, and Jess has popped the link in the chat if anyone wants to subscribe to the Bug Hunt EDM, and then the lead organisations for Bug Hunt, so Invertebrates Australia and the Invasive Species Council. We also have EDMs which share more broadly other projects that our wonderful organisations are working on. So if you'd like to subscribe to those, you're welcome to do that as well. And both of the organisations being environmental charities, they are also really grateful for any support that comes through in forms of donations or joining as a supporter or other ways that you can get involved and support those fantastic organisations. So do check out those websites as well. Oh, someone's commenting they got 8 out of 16. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So glad you enjoyed the trivia question. So the bonus question answer is 2,429 subscribers. So Jess, do you want to have a quick look through and see who got closest to 2,429?
Martin Rady got 2,500. I think that.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think you got the bonus point, Martin. So well done. That's super close. So you guessed 2,500 and the answer was 2,429. So fabulous. Great. So glad you've all enjoyed playing. There will be a survey that goes out at the end of this trivia session. And if you'd like to complete it by next Wednesday, we would super appreciate that because we'd love to get any feedback. Like, this is the first time we've run a trivia session like this. Jess and I have had a fantastic time. We've loved interacting with you all and hearing your stories in the chat. And so please do let us know, though, if you would like to do an event like this in the future, if there's anything else that you'd like to see included, if there were themes that you'd love to see included next time. We're super open to those suggestions. And if you do the survey, you can also go into that prize draw to win one of the 2 lucky draw prizes of the $50 vouchers for the Invertebrates Australia shop. So good luck to everyone for that too. Jess and I just wanted to say a huge thank you to you all for joining with us and staying with us. The QR code on the screen directs you to the Bug Hunt website. So if anyone wants to kind of scan that and go to the QR website for the Bug Hunt, please do. And I actually learned a lot helping design the questions for this trivia. So I hope that you learned some things too. And there is just always so much more to learn about our wonderful invertebrates. So we wanted to wish you all happy bug hunting as well. So please do keep those iNaturalist records coming through the Bug Hunt project. And remember to save the date for Bugs in My Backyard Week in November. So
just a heads up, someone found that the link to the subscribe goes to the website. You just have to scroll down a little bit and then you'll see the portal where you can put your email in.
Yeah, yep. Great point. Yeah, thanks for checking on that because that is a good reminder. You just kind of need to scroll down the page a little bit to get there.
Super. Thank you so much, everyone. Happy bug hunting.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you so much again for all the comments in the chat. It's been really lovely to see. Great. How do you do the survey? You'll get a link. So once this finishes, which I'll end the session in just a moment, the link to the survey will pop up. And you'll also get an email to the recording afterwards as well. So thank you so much again. And thank you for the positive feedback. Really appreciating all the comments coming through in the chat. Great. All right. We'll wrap it up there.
See you later.
Thank you. Bye.